Welcome back to the Teachers AI Cafe. I'm Kane, your host. And first off, I'd like to start thanking those that have been listening to my first 25 episodes. That is a milestone. The last few days I uploaded a whole lot of short little videos about the different models, just sort of get them through the process before I go back to my weekly format. And what I'd like to say is thank you for people from all around the world. Like I've got a new listener from Atlanta, Georgia, North Carolina, Richmond, California, Tokyo, Japan, Seoul, Korea, Dresden, Germany, Bahrain. That's quite interesting as well. Singapore, Russian Federation. Hopefully they're using AI for good out there. And as well as Italy. And I'd like to thank all the people who have been tuning into my podcast. So today I'm doing something a little bit different. The original episode I worked out was I was going to go through and look at all the different models that I've covered and like sort of summarize them in a single episode. And I wrote the script and everything to do that. But I thought I'd try something different by applying AI to actually do this for me. And I've mentioned this tool previously. So what I've done is actually using the free version of NoteBookLM from Google. And this is sort of developed since I spoke about it almost 20 odd weeks ago. Do go check it out. Once again, all the Google tools as well as the OpenAI are continually improving, offering more better tools that are easy to use. And looking at the interface, they've added a few more features. But the tool, I've used the audio overview, and I've mentioned that previously where it'll do like a podcast type arrangement. So what I've done is I've gone back and got all my podcast episodes, my exports, my WAV files. I've uploaded them up in the NoteBookLM. I put the script in there, which I was planning to run. I've asked it to do an audio overview, the podcast format. And that's actually we're going to play for you this episode. So you're not going to listen to me. You're going to listen to the audio overview of all the resources I've uploaded. Hopefully this will allow to sort of consolidate the different ideas and different prompts and when you can actually use them. An interesting thing, which I might talk about in another episode, is they've added a few more features, including a video overview. Now, I'm running that through the generator at the moment, through NoteBookLM, and I'll see what it makes. And I'm not going to put it up in the podcast, but I'll drop it into the Facebook group, and you can see what the video is generated from the information uploaded. I'm curious because I've never run it myself before. It'll be interesting for both of us. As always, make sure you share this podcast with people who are interested in AI, your teaching colleagues. Get on there, give me a review, and enjoy the Google AI audio overview and see what taking existing content that you've been listening to, what it can actually do to that and maybe make it more useful for us as teachers. Till then, I'll talk to you later.
You know that feeling, right? That common frustration. You've got a really good idea, you type it into an AI model, you think you've been clear, and what comes back is just, well, it's like digital dry toast.
Yeah, dry toast, that's a good one.
It's too generic, or maybe way too long, or the tone is just completely off. It feels less like that sharp, capable assistant you wanted, and more like a guessing intern.
It really is the Achilles heel, isn't it, of interacting with these powerful models. The AI itself is usually capable, but the problem, 9 times out of 10, it's the lack of structure in the prompt.
Right.
If you give it like mushy intent, you're pretty much guaranteed to get generic output back. So we need to move past just single sentence requests. We need to start using these specialized frameworks that force us, the user, to actually define the exact parameters, the context, the outcome we need.
That feels absolutely crucial. We've gathered this huge list of different prompt architectures, and our mission today really is to build a kind of taxonomy, a decision tree maybe, so you know exactly which level of complexity you need for the job.
Yeah, simplify the choice.
Exactly. We're simplifying how you choose the right framework, the right hat for duty, if you like, because let's face it, the demands on your time change every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have time to sift through messy instructions. Okay, so let's start right at the ground level. The framework's built for maximum speed, maximum clarity. These are the ones you need when, the bell's about to go and need something now, not in 5 minutes.
Right. For those immediate high-clarity tasks, APE is a great starting point. Action, purpose, and expectation.
APE.
Yeah, think of it as the sprint model. It's usually just 3 lines, maybe takes 20 seconds of your time to input, and it's designed for total focus on getting that one pass done quickly.
Action, purpose, expectation. Okay, break that down for us. How does that actually translate into a prompt I can use?
Okay, so action. That's the verb and the product. What you need the AI to do, like generate retrieval questions. Simple.
Got it.
Purpose. That explains why you need it, how you'll use it. For instance, activate prior knowledge for a Year 8 class on feudalism. Provides that bit of context. Okay. And then the really critical bit, expectation. This defines the output structure. The format, the tone, any constraints.
Ah, okay. So if I needed, say, a quick lesson warm-up, I'd be super specific. Action. Generate retrieval questions. Purpose. Activate prior knowledge for Year 8. Feudalism. Expectation. Return 4 short answers and 4 multiple choice and label them by difficulty level. That's really nailing down the output format.
Right, precisely. You're forcing the structure. Or think about an admin task. Action. Analyze this Year 11 student paragraph. Purpose. Prep targeted, high-impact feedback for a quick 5-minute student conference.
Right.
Expectation. Output must be 5 dot points, strengths, fixes, next steps, and critically write it in student-friendly language and explicitly state no numerical grades. It saves a huge amount of time during marking because the AI does the synthesis, structured exactly how you need it for that quick chat.
Okay, APE sounds great for speed, but what if, the output is technically right, but the formatting is just awful, like a giant wall of text? APE doesn't sound like it really locks down the overall readability.
That's a fair point. And that's where you might need to upgrade, maybe to a model focused more on structural integrity. That brings us to CLEAR.
CLEAR.
Yeah. If APE is the sprint, CLEAR is maybe the workload whisperer. It's focused entirely on optimizing the structure for whoever needs to read or use it. CLEAR stands for context, length, explicit task, audience, and response style.
Okay, so CLEAR is more about the packaging then, not just the content itself.
Exactly. And what's quite flexible about CLEAR is you don't necessarily have to input the bits in that acronym order, CLEAR. You just need to make sure all 5 components are covered somewhere in your prompt. You're basically defining the box before you ask the AI to put the content inside it.
I can see the power there. Okay, an example.
Yeah.
Maybe for an English task.
Yeah.
You could prompt. Summarize the plot of Romeo and Juliet. That's the explicit task. In 5 dot points response style for Year 10s, that's the audience.
Yep.
Who've just finished Act 2, the context, and keep it under 100 words length. By naming all those things, you're stopping that algorithmic drift you mentioned.
You totally shut down those extra questions the AI sometimes throws back, right? Like, do you need a heading? Or should I include citations? CLEAR creates really clear boundaries, no guesswork.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got quick tasks covered with APE, structured summaries with CLEAR. Now this is where it gets really interesting for me. Moving from those quick fixes to outputs that are, properly structured and pedagogically sound. Things that respect the core architecture of your work, like a full lesson plan or a project outline.
Right. And for that level of detail, we often look at RACE, role, action, context, and execute.
RACE.
We sometimes call this the lesson architect. This framework is pretty essential when you're designing activities that have to fit into a tight time frame, like that standard 60-minute class. And it aligns really nicely with principles like teacher clarity and giving high-quality feedback.
So with RACE, we're essentially giving the AI an expert persona to adopt.
That's the role part, exactly. Role defines that expert persona, maybe experienced history teacher or curriculum designer. Action uses a specific Bloom's verb, something precise like design, compare, or critique.
Okay.
Context sets the whole stage, student level, syllabus links, maybe specific prior knowledge they should have. And then execute, this is key. It demands the exact output format. Sections, word counts, timings for each part of the lesson, the specific deliverables. Execute is the high-fidelity instruction step.
Let's run through that concrete example you mentioned, designing a lesson. Show us how RACE really fices that pre-planning of the instructional flow.
Okay, so role. You are an experienced history teacher. Action. Design a 50-minute lesson. Context. Year 8 medieval history, it's a mixed literacy group, and the topic is feudalism. Execute. Return a comprehensive lesson plan. It must contain learning intentions and success criteria written in student-friendly language, please. Also, a 10-minute retrieval warm-up, a 20-minute core activity, a 15-minute scaffolded task for differentiation, and finally, a 5-minute exit ticket.
Wow, okay.
See, that ensures the output isn't just content dump. It's a functional, properly timed instructional flow. Ready to use.
Okay, the lesson structure is built with RACE, but now we need to pivot. What about communicating outcomes? Maybe talking to parents or external stakeholders. That sounds like a place where the deliverable fidelity really matters. That feels like prompt T territory.
Exactly right. Prompt T, persona, request, output type, modifier, provide example, and tone. This one is specifically geared for when the output is going external, maybe even for publication, and the style has to be absolutely spot on.
I'm immediately looking at that provide example step, P for provide example.
Yeah.
Why is that the secret sauce, as you put it?
Because giving the AI even a small sample, a picture, a snippet of text you like, even just one model sentence, it instantly helps the AI mirror the style and quality you're after. We all remember those early AI drafts, right? A letter to a parent that sounded like it was written by a robot lawyer?
Oh, yeah. Cold and robotic.
Provide example ensures it sounds human. Warm, professional, whatever you need, it nails the tone.
Okay, perfect use case then.
Yeah.
That parent email. Persona. Pastoral care teacher, let's say Australian English dialect. Request. Draft a short progress update using these notes I'm supplying. Output. Keep it concise. 140, 160 words, 4 short paragraphs maybe. Modifier. No jargon. Definitely no grades. But do include one specific strength and one priority focus area. Tone. Warm, professional, helpful.
Yes. And the AI just can't drift when the parameters are that tight. Plus, that template becomes instantly reusable. Think of the time saved every single afternoon.
Okay, PromptT handles tone beautifully. But what if the output sounds perfect, it's structured right, but it's factually wrong or legally wrong? Like a safety bulletin that accidentally violates a school policy? Isn't adding a compliance layer just more work, more cognitive load when I'm trying to prompt quickly?
It might feel like it, but not if safety or policy adherence are absolutely non-negotiable. And that's where Guide comes in.
Guide, okay.
Goal, understanding assumptions, information, facts, and direction container. Think of Guide as like the super organized colleague who actually remembers all the policy details. It actively prevents drift and, importantly, hallucinations by forcing you to state assumptions and key facts right at the beginning.
And why does this one work particularly well for things like science, maths, or technical writing?
Because precision is everything in those areas, isn't it? Guide is really strong for things like standard operating procedures, SOPs, or safety notes, where one wrong assumption could be, well, disastrous.
Right.
Take planning a practical investigation, say, Year 9 Science. Goal. Plan a safe, step-by-step practical investigation. Understanding assumptions. Okay, it's a mixed ability class, some ESL learners, and this is crucial. We must only use realistic school lab equipment. No fancy gear.
Okay, setting constraints.
Information facts. The students have already completed the titration module, so they have that background. Direction. Return and aim, 1 sentence. Variables, put them in tables. Procedure, use numbered steps. Safety, 5 bold bullet points. And a template for the data table. Oh, and keep the whole thing to a single A4 page.
You've completely locked down the constraints, the facts, the format before the AI even starts writing.
Yeah.
That feels like true control. Right, we've covered frameworks for speed, for structure, pedagogy, compliance. Now let's move into the really strategic stuff. Frameworks that help you think bigger, tackle large projects, or maybe solve those deep, tricky classroom problems. These are the tools that make you pause and really plan.
Yeah, the thinking tools. First up, maybe chain of thought or COT. COT isn't really about the output format itself. It's about forcing the AI to show it's working, its cognitive process. It guides the AI to break down its thinking step by step, just like you'd encourage students to show they're working in a complex math problem.
Okay, so it sounds like this could prevent, catastrophic failures when you're planning something complex logistically.
It really can. And you trigger it pretty simply just by adding phrases like, let's think step by step, or explain your thinking process as you go. Imagine planning a big STEM careers incursion. You've got 120 students, 5 rooms, 5 different sessions running.
Nightmare logistics.
Exactly. You use COT to plan it sequentially. First, group rotations. Okay, got that sorted. Next, supervision and relief teacher assignments. Then, check the timetable feasibility. And only after all that's solid, you tackle final logistics signage, staff emails, run sheets. COT structures the whole sequence, makes you verify each step.
Okay, if COT is for logistics, what about SPARK? You mentioned that's for reframing challenges leading to breakthroughs. SPARK, what does that stand for?
SPARK is situation, problem, aspiration, result, and the interesting one, kismet.
Kismet. Like fate.
Sort of. It's that element of serendipity, the unexpected but positive outcome you're aiming for. This framework forces you to shift from just reacting to a problem, like this class is noisy, to responding with a longer-term solution.
Okay, let's apply it. That difficult Year 11 behavior issue we mentioned. How does Spark change how you'd approach prompting for solutions?
Right. You start by defining the situation. Okay, the class is lethargic, seems disengaged. Then define the problem, but reframe it away from just discipline. Maybe the real issue is disconnection from the curriculum, not deliberate rudeness.
Oh, okay, different lens.
Aspiration. What do we want? We want to build respect and relevance into how we deliver the content. Result, what's the ideal outcome? Maybe we want those traditionally difficult students to become the most passionate debaters in the class. That's the kismet. So the prompt then asks the AI for strategies to achieve that kismet. And it might suggest things you hadn't thought of, like a debate linking, say, the Industrial Revolution directly to modern inequality. Something that forces relevance and connection for those students.
Spark makes you define the ideal future state, not just the immediate fix. That's a really powerful cognitive shift.
It really is. And finally, in this strategic section, we have SMART.
SMART goals applied to AI prompts.
Exactly. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. We're applying that familiar professional goal-setting structure directly to your prompts. It's excellent for accountability, for planning differentiation, setting project milestones.
Okay, so using SMART for differentiation, like in a science recap, you could prompt, design a 3-question quiz, measurable, on the Parco model of matter, specific for Year 8's, achievable, relevant. And make sure it fits into a 10-minute recap session, time-bound.
Perfect.
And I guess you could use it for accountability, too, by adding, ensure one question is a stretch question. Achievable but challenging, designed to push the top 10% of the class.
Absolutely. And here's a neat trick. You can turn SMART inwards. Use it to structure your own professional development goals. You can prompt the AI to ask you the SMART questions first, forcing you to fully define your goal and check it's truly achievable before you even commit to it.
That's clever, using the AI to coach yourself. Okay, so taking all this in, what does this whole taxonomy mean for you, the listener, the learner?
Yeah.
It means you now have this kind of intelligence map for your AI toolbox.
Yeah.
You don't have to just pick one, right? You can pair them up.
Definitely. You could use RACE to build the lesson structure, then maybe CLEAR to format the student worksheet nicely.
Or PROMPT for that perfectly toned parent communication, layered with the guide to make sure you haven't missed any crucial policy details.
Exactly. And we do see certain subject areas naturally gravitating toward specific models. History and English, for instance, they rely heavily on argument analysis. They often love frameworks like chain of thought for breaking down complex reasoning, and another one we call RISEN.
Well, hang on. You mentioned RISEN earlier, but didn't define it. If it's good for analysis, what's RISEN stand for?
Good catch. Apologies. RISEN is role, information, strategy, expectation, and nudge next step.
Strategy.
Yes, strategy is the key differentiator there. It's often used when you need the AI to really dig into dense source material. You explicitly tell the AI how to approach the text, maybe compare and contrast these two sources, deconstruct this argument, or evaluate the evidence presented here.
Got it. That makes total sense for generating strong arguments or analyzing texts. What about other subjects?
Well, science and tech, they lean heavily on guide for that safety and fidelity aspect we discussed. They might dash in APE for quick reteaches if a concept isn't landing. And they often use SMART to schedule their entire workflow, project plans, etc.
Makes sense.
Maths, predictably, loves COSI for showing logical reasoning, CLEAR for laying out steps transparently, maybe APE for quick lesson starters, and RACE for sequencing complex multi-step problems.
So the common thread, really, across all of these, it seems to be, if your prompt lacks clear parameter definition, that algorithmic drift is almost inevitable. Mushy intent, mushy output.
That is the absolute core takeaway. If you get output where the content seems okay, but the formatting is unusable, your execute step in RACE or your expectation in APE was probably too loose, too vague.
Right.
If the AI just completely misses the point, then you need to look at your context step in RACE or maybe the information component in guide. You likely failed to give it the necessary facts or the background assumptions it needed up front.
This has been an incredibly rapid tour of what feels like the ultimate AI prompting toolbox. So just to summarize the core lesson for everyone listening, use APE when you need speed. RACE for solid pedagogy. PROMPT when that publishable fidelity really matters. Guide for compliance and accuracy. COT or RISEN for depth and analysis. CLEAR for readability. SPARK for those breakthrough ideas. And SMART for accountability and structure.
That's a great summary. But there is maybe one final crucial layer to think about. It's this concept called crafting AI.
Crafting AI, is that another framework?
Not exactly a rival framework, no. Think of it more as a conscience, an ethical overlay. Crafting essentially wraps around whichever framework you've chosen, APE, RACE, PROMPT, whatever, and applies a series of ethical checks. It forces a focus on things like accessibility, equity, privacy, and tone sensitivity.
Okay. So it's a final check.
Precisely. For you, the learner, the provocative thought is this. If you are generating any material that's going out to parents, to the public, or even just across multiple classes with diverse students, always run that crafting overlay as a final step. Future you will definitely thank you for not having to write awkward apology emails on a Friday afternoon because the AI used jargon or struck a tone that accidentally alienated half your audience.
That is a very important final point. Food for thought indeed.